Okay, and we are live. Hey Sue, thank you so much for joining me on this call. I'd love if you can share with our viewers how you felt about bootcamp, about the website bootcamp.
Before I even answer that, I want to say this is my first ever um, testimonial and certainly a live video one. So this is Virgin Experience. It was.
Wasn't the website also a Virgin experience?
I did have a website before, or at least so I
Okay,
thought. I had a website address that nobody
but
really. It's been
working on
like,
it,
no,
working on
well,
it yourself.
it wasn't working full stop. So
Mm.
it was up there. So it was a bit like having a shop in downtown wherever that nobody
Mhm.
walks by, if you like. And I knew I'd come across you from various groups, and I really liked the
Mhm.
way that you engage with people and
Thank
how
you.
upbeat you are. And so I kind of been stalking you for a little while before the offer came out. Yeah. So it was. I won't say it wasn't a no-brainer. The price was certainly very exciting. Um, and I knew that tech thing was a really big issue for me. It has been in the past.
Mhm.
I've been in groups before and paid 6, 7, 8 times more than the cost of what your group was, and I was just mentally challenging myself. Was this just going to be another, money down the drain job? Particularly because tech has been my issue. It's been my stumbling block. So yeah, it
And what do you
was.
feel now after boot camp? How do you, I
Uh,
mean, do you think it was a worthwhile investment? Did you get what you wanted, what you expected?
I got more than what I expected. I didn't really know. I thought it was just going to be about putting a website up and putting a few pages together. I learned so much that I've got tools and resources to carry me forward now to make those changes so that I'll never be dependent on somebody else. If I think I want to change something or I want to implement something or want to create a page or I've got an offer or whatever, I don't have to send an email and wait for somebody to respond and pay for that. I can do it myself.
For me, that's success. Yes, that's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
And, and do you feel comfortable with, did you ever work on WordPress before this boot camp?
Yes.
Okay. And how did
Yes.
you find the experience during this boot camp? How do you feel about
Completely
Word?
different because I had a WordPress site before, so I
Mhm.
knew about the dashboard, and I'd been in and had altered a few bits of the verbiage and whatever. But if I needed to place a photograph somewhere different, or I never knew about headers, I never knew about the way that you can change images or create images, or all the font size and colors and just the whole design element of it was completely new to me. So whilst I thought I knew WordPress, I didn't.
Do
Not
you
to the
feel comfortable enough with WordPress now?
I'd say I'm still on a learning trajectory on some elements, but
Mhm.
I know so much more than I didn't think I needed to know. That's the thing.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, it's been a big learning curve, and I won't say that every day was easy. There were times that were challenging, but growth is, because if you're not growing and if the, discomfort is a part of you coming to a new space, and I've
Yes.
definitely come to a new space, definitely a new
Uh,
space.
in boot camp, I remember our conversations through boot camp, and I know we covered a lot of ground. But can you share with the people who are listening what kind of things did we cover beyond WordPress? What was the best part for you beyond WordPress and Divi, beyond the tech part of it?
It was that you were there for us to answer, and to be the audience for us, basically, because there's one thing us having a voice and saying, this is who I am and this is what I do, but it was a whole different element of you were actually holding that space as an audience, saying, okay, if I'm new to you and I'm reading this, I've got this question and this doesn't make sense and that doesn't make sense. So it made me really have to put myself in the other person's position to be able to explain better where I've come from and where it is that I'm hoping to go
Yes.
with it. And that's very different to how my website looks right now. My website right now is very, very different to what I've come out with.
Mhm.
And I've always been quite okay about my website. I was quite pleased when I got that, but I've gone from when I started of like thinking about the launch and thinking, oh, I wonder if I can launch it without people, having to put it on my timeline and my friends and my family seeing it, to being like, I'm really pleased that anybody can see it, because this is who I am. This is where I've come from. This is where I'm going. And although it may not be
Yes.
for them per se, I don't know, it feels a bit strange, but it's like a coming out, if you like.
Yes. Yes. And that's it's I can't tell you how happy I am to hear that. Because when I came up with the idea for bootcamp, I know that there are a zillion courses out there that you can do to learn WordPress, and there are lots of free videos and tutorials. But for me, I have seen over the years as a business coach, as someone who's worked on websites, I've seen women hide behind their website, try to make it impersonal or hide behind it, play small. And my purpose, the reason I did this bootcamp live was simply so that I am there to push you out of that shell. And if I had labeled this as a coming out course or start your ideal business course, no one would have signed up.
No,
But
I
on
might
the
have done,
website,
but
yeah.
yeah.
When I said website, everyone needs a website. You come for the website, but I also make sure that you get clear on your audience. You can disagree. I mean, if you disagree with me, say that, okay? But I think in this bootcamp, my purpose was to get you clear about your message and your audience and your business, and then translate that onto your website.
Yeah.
Do you think we achieved that?
Absolutely. I think where I was is the website I had was created when I was where I was, and it was created by somebody else. There's a lot happened to me since that has happened, and I didn't want to have to keep engaging other people's services to update
Yes.
myself, basically.
Yes.
So when you came
Exactly.
into my space, and I won't forget, I mean, for the woo-woo others out there, I do remember having a conversation with you, and it was 11:11 on my computer, and I just went, okay, I'm noting that, so my angel has arrived, and you did.
Thank you, Sue. So one last question. I remember I won't mention the names of the courses, but I do know that you are on two really high ticket programs, which are kind of like 10x the times of the bootcamp. And I would love if you can share the difference in what you've experienced in those programs versus the website bootcamp.
The the community, for one thing, because although most of them come with a community that you can tap into, it's a bit like throwing a pebble in a pond. You can get a lot of response from people, but it can be, which can be a good thing, it can be different opinions. But when you're going through something as technical and as personal as this, to have
Yes.
you lead, coaching us forward was the difference, I think. Because I've even been in a program where there was another coach that was helping, but that was on a different league to what you've offered. That was,
When you say it's a different league, what do you mean?
a different league, in that people can go away and do something, hit a ball, hit a stumbling block and come back and get the response from you. Whereas any other program there's been like an allotted time that here I am, any questions? Well, you might not have the questions at that point, because you're
Yeah,
not actually implemented it, and people are at different stages, so it's a bit of a mishmash. But with your program, I felt that basically you were there with me throughout. And that helped me to keep going, because there's times when if it gets too difficult, then I can just walk away, just shelve
yeah.
it.
I remember the first 2 weeks, and the copy was supposed to be done in the first week, but yours, even at the end of the second week, you were still like a bit all over the place with the copy and struggling with it. And I remember
Yeah,
that. Go ahead. Why don't
yeah.
you share it in your words?
Well, it was that. It was a bit of a realization going around the houses, really, because you know what you've learned, you know what tools you've got. You feel, well, I'll speak for myself on this, you feel that everybody could benefit from it. So, your target market is everybody. And then it came back to the most fundamental and basic understanding of myself and what I've learned and what I have grown through to be my
Mm-hmm.
target market.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a growing phase, and it was painful in times, but we got
I
there.
know. I know. I remember the first week, so many ahas happening, so many transformation. And I remember someone sent me a PM that they didn't feel like they signed up for a website course. It feels like they signed up for a personal development program.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of personal development over the years, but you just came into my life at the right time for the right reasons, and I thank you for that. And I think that anybody that's considering taking your website boot camp, from my heart, I say just go for it, just do it, and Risha will guide you through to where you want to be. She won't drop you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. Thank you so much for joining us for this call. And
You're very
anything
welcome.
else you want to say to the people who are watching?
Don't delay, start today.
Yes, powerful one. Thank you so much, Sue. Thank you for joining me today.
Pleasure.